Okay, so week 2 of the NFL season. We're past the point where we're still trying to figure out what teams even are, and now we're entering the point where some of your teams out there are in some serious trouble. Dude, what the hell? I thought we were done with the sloppiness after week 1. I mean, that was just an absurd amount of turnovers in such a short time, and these are supposed to be 2 contenders. Or at least before the season they were, because the Vikings are disintegrating by the second. The O-line is looking to bring in anyone who's over 250 and willing to play, and the Eagles seem to be more invested in managing A.J. Brown's ego rather than anything else. But the Eagles, for the second week in a row, were just bailed out by talent, and that Justin Jefferson fumble just changed the entire game. And once I recovered from my Raiders PTSD attack, I realized, wait a minute, Jalen Hurts just doesn't look as sharp as he did last year, missing reads and almost looking ineffective as a rusher. Not only does Jalen Hurts need to get his shit together, but Philly's D did everything they could to blow this game, but it didn't matter, with the offense realizing that DeAndre Swift is actually pretty good at football, it turns out, and the Eagles reopened their playbook from 1947, running the ball 48 times to strangle their prey to death. So the Eagles now have 2 ugly wins under their belt, but, you know, whatever. They'll probably figure it out. A win is a win. But for the Vikings, you guys should be spooked. And looking ahead at your schedule, things aren't getting any easier. By like week 6, you could be chilling with a 1-4 record. And maybe at some point this year, Kirk Cousins might be wearing a jersey with a little bit more green on it than usual. Look, there are 2 takeaways from this game. That's all you need, nothing else. Just know that Josh Allen is still very, very good at football, and the Raiders we still f***ing suck. In particular, the Raiders defense continues to be a little too obedient in following the blood contract they're under, only showing up against Denver, and that's about it. I mean, they got 0 pressure all game long. Every receiver was wide open whenever Josh Allen pleased. Our highest paid defensive player is busy going on unhinged Twitter rants, and of course, it looks like this dude's already a bust. Sorry, I'm not doing a Raiders rant this early in the year. I just don't have it in me. I can't do it anymore. But to turn Raiders fan mode off, the Bills looked great. Even when Jimmy Garoppolo made good throws, Buffalo was on top of it, and Josh Allen continues to have the entire NFL community change their opinions on him seemingly every week. One week he sucks and is the most overrated player in the league, and the next we're looking straight in the eyes at the unanimous MVP. Bills blowout, Raiders suck, I'm very sad. There's not much else to it. Anthony Richardson, you need to be careful. Please, just stop inviting contact. It's only week 2, and Anthony Richardson has proven he will already be a dangerous quarterback in this league for a long time. His skill set is solidified, but I mean, he just continually keeps finding himself in situations that he shouldn't be in. Now, regardless of AR5's fetish for pain, the Colts have Gardner Minshew, so there was never any reason to worry. And with the Texans secondary suffering from Ravenitis, I guess, with no Jimmy Ward or Petrie, this game was never close outside of somewhat the first half. The Colts just got business done, and you know, even Texans fans can't be too mad at this game. I would say CJ Stroud had a much better performance than he did in week 1, but that O-line, that offensive line needs to improve. Dameon Pierce is already just done. He's not going anywhere until they start getting pieces back on the O-line. But, I mean, at this point, he might as well just be running full speed on a treadmill. Dame can die out there. They don't care. Just whatever happens, you cannot let this man become this man. If that offensive line doesn't improve, you're going to lose another franchise quarterback. 876 yards. I don't know how it keeps getting worse, but it does. The Chargers' star-studded, hyped-up defense has allowed 876 yards through the first 2 games. We all had questions about the security of Brandon Staley's job, but if allowing 900 yards over 2 games isn't enough to get your contract terminated, I don't know what is. I just don't think my stomach can handle watching Khalil Mack's big ass drop back into coverage anymore. It's revolting. I'm still pissed at you, Chargers, but hey, we got a fat guy play. I'm gonna start keeping score of these. That's the first one of the year, and I hope to see more out of you, Chargers. But the Chargers' usual shenanigans aside, Ryan Tannehill, I guess I'm sorry? I'm not really sure if he has still a little bit more juice left in the box, or the Chargers D is just that bad. Even if that is true, this performance by the elder Ryan was a massive improvement from last week. I mean, the man went from missing wide open receivers by a comical amount to hitting his receivers in stride down the field. It was just really weird to see, but even with Tannehill regaining his power, Justin Herbert is still one of the only consistent things about this Chargers team, making some ridiculous plays. But when it mattered most, the offense stalled out on them, and oh no, the Chargers had to kick a field goal under pressure. But what? I guess Dicker the kicker seems to be immune to the curse. Gone are the days of the money badger, and the Chargers were able to get themselves into overtime. But no. You're not allowed to be happy. Justin Herbert made a mistake, the play calling sucked, and with that, the Chargers sunk right back into their old ways. And with Tannehill 2 feet deep in his own bag, the Titans pulled out the win. When? When will this stop happening, Chargers? This can't keep happening. So I usually, take some notes during the games. I'll jot a few things down so I'm a little bit more fresh when I do this recording, but for this Bucs-Bears game, I wrote down one thing and one thing only, and I think it sums up the game pretty well. Chicago. I hate to break it to you, but I really don't think Justin Fields is improving fast enough, if at all. And if you watch the guys' film from last week and this Bucs game, there are just way too many moments where he activates Zach Wilson mode and just gets tunnel vision to the point where it's genuinely scary. But although it would be so easy to put all the blame on Fields and call it a season, the coaching. Oh, the coaching. Look, I said I'd give you a week to figure it out, and you took my warning and completely ignored it. You need to strike a balance between quarterback runs and passing plays. Like I said with Anthony Richardson, I'm all for protecting your quarterback's health, but when the most effective rushing quarterback in the league runs for 3 yards, something's gone wrong. It almost feels like Justin Fields has a gun pointed to his head, warning him he's not allowed to run it anymore, because it almost feels like Chicago is trying to force Fields to throw the ball to teach him a lesson or something. And if that's somehow true, it ain't working at all. Fields just holds onto the ball for too long, and paid the price for that, getting sacked 6 times. And meanwhile, the Buccaneers did just enough to drag themselves past the finish line. I kind of felt like the offense was a little stale outside of one angry man, and Tampa really benefited from just way too many injuries to an already piss-poor Bears defense. One of these days, I'm just going to go on a long tangent on the Bears, but still, it's not time yet. Just know that for now, Mike Evans, as one single individual living organism, had more receiving yards than the Bears had net passing yards. And if Bears fans haven't already permanently checked out for the season, maybe you should. You made Baker Mayfield look more like Patrick Mahomes this week than Patrick Mahomes did. That is disgraceful. Hot dog! Well, I'm just upset now. Damn it, Detroit. This game had all the potential in the world to be a statement win from you guys, and you didn't get that. Instead, all you're left with is a pulsating pain in the old groin area. Yes, I understand injuries, and more injuries, but I feel like if I had a few burgers and found a helmet, I could have rumbled onto the field and gotten some pressure against that Seahawks O-line. I mean, Geno could just sit back and go through his 6th progression. He had that much time. And I love Dan Campbell as much as the next guy, but he got a little overzealous with those 4th down calls. Going for it on the Seattle 30 when a field goal could have really changed things was just not the move at all. But that didn't change the fact that this game was a good back and forth battle for the most part. Seattle's play calling was just damn near perfect in this game, realizing that their O-line isn't good, so they can't really get long plays down the field to happen. Even with the Lions' struggles, though, the offense was looking normal until David Montgomery went down, which really forced the Lions to change their game plan. And that's when Jared Goff felt like it was the perfect opportunity to throw the game and threw the ball 3 Jahmyr Gibbs lengths behind their rookie to just about wrap things up. Or it would have, but then Geno got possessed by himself from the past and took one of the worst sacks I've ever seen in my life to allow the Lions to force overtime. But it's fine. This was all part of the plan because it set up the appearance of the best player the Seahawks have. There he is, Drew Lock sighting. And of course, The Lions didn't stand a chance with Drew Lock easily winning the coin toss without a sweat, and Geno just wanted to go home and went right down the field and called game. So, I had a whole segment right here where I was talking about how things are looking up for you, Detroit, once your guys get healthy and stuff, but it looks like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is done for the year, so that really, really sucks. That one injury honestly might just tank the entire Lions season by itself. Just a devastating setback. What a game for Baltimore. They came into the jungle missing their entire secondary, half the O-line and more, and bullied one of the Super Bowl favorites for a majority of the game. So yeah, great game, Ravens. Good work out there. Good football. Bengals. When will you change? It looks like I was unfortunately right. Joe Burrow has been playing hurt, and he got hurt even more because he was out there when he shouldn't have been. So please, just learn from your mistakes, cut your losses, and don't let him sniff grass until Burrow is 100% healthy and ready to be playing football at the highest level. But the Burrow issue aside, the Bengals' problems run so much deeper than that. You can't just go into every game hoping to have generational talent make generational plays to bail you out. And when you give that talent route trees like this, I mean, what do you expect to happen? You had every opportunity to completely revive your season versus a very injured Ravens secondary, and all you got was one less passing yard than in week 1 from Burrow in the first half. And a few checkdowns as the game slogged on aren't enough to save this game from being a complete disaster. Just let Joe Burrow rest. It's that simple. And when he's ready to come back at his full peak, then rally behind him. But right now, yes, Cincinnati, smash that panic button and run through the streets. It is time to panic.
Henry, look at that stiff arm!
Here we are in the Battle of the Younglings, where early on it looked like the Packers somehow didn't feel anything after losing Bakhtiari, Watson, and Aaron Jones before the game, but as it went on, and the poison that is the Falcons' run game worsened over time, the Packers became victims and succumbed to the Falcons' ways of football. Atlanta is just a team that plays to win games. The defense does its thing when needed. The running game looked great again. Bijan's a demon. Arthur Smith can coach a football team, and oh my god, are the Atlanta Falcons entering a new era? Under the stash this year, the Falcons are quite literally the best fourth quarter team in the league. Let me say that again. The Atlanta Falcons are good in the fourth quarter. What even is football anymore? But I guess other than that, this cheese man thing had a better run than any A.J. Dillon touch. But I mean, there's only so much to say. The Packers' injuries seem to be the difference in this game, with more added on during the war. So both teams should leave this game satisfied. Not happy, but satisfied enough. The unanimous award for weirdest game of the week has to go to this one. I mean, with Kelsey and Chris Jones coming back, we knew that this was going to be the true test for the Jaguars, and we were going to see what they were made of, and I gotta say, I am thoroughly disappointed. And with that, the problem is that the Jaguars seem to actually follow their game plan most of the time, getting other receivers involved with more defensive attention going to Ridley, which was working until they got in the dreaded red zone. And in the red zone, the Jags just shut down. 4 trips inside the 20 and 0 touchdowns is unacceptable. If you think you're beating the Chiefs with that performance, then you are mistaken. So while the Jags were struggling at the worst possible times, the Chiefs also really didn't look good. Mahomes made some horrendous throws you'd never imagine him making, and I'm sure he's going to clean that up. But after Juwan Taylor's magnificent Week 1 performance, the NFL collectively got together and was like, hey, maybe we should start calling penalties on him. And Juwan Taylor was just getting toasted out there. Hell, at one point, it got so bad he was benched in the middle of the game. $80 million chilling on the bench with 5 penalties. You should feel very lucky, Chiefs fans. If Chris Jones just decided not to show up to work again, then you'd be looking at an 0-2 record. And this game was supposed to be like an AFC Championship preview, but it really kind of just felt like Titans vs. Saints version 2, which isn't great. But before we get into the afternoon games, it's time to talk to you about the sponsor of this video, MyBookie. MyBookie is an online sports betting website that utilizes features like parlays to make watching sports more exciting. And right now on MyBookie, they are offering a new welcome cash bonus offer of 10% on top of your first deposit, which effectively means if you put in $100 to place bets on whatever teams you feel like, you will receive an additional $10 on top of the $100 you put in. They also have many other features in sports to get into, so if making NFL games more exciting sounds up your alley and a lot of other events, then to get started, go to mybookie.ag or click the link in the description and use promo code TubFrog on your first deposit of $50 or more, and you can receive up to $200 in your MyBookie account. Once again, that is promo code TubFrog in all caps to claim your deposit bonus if you choose. So thanks to MyBookie for sponsoring this video, and with that, let's get right back to the recap. Well, alright, I guess Russell Wilson is back. He's throwing perfect passes, one after the other, practically handing the ball off to his receivers on bombs. The Broncos defense is looking as vintage as ever, and a 21-3 lead is your reward. Well, the Broncos' immeasurable incompetence aside, the Commanders showed more soul in this game, in any game, since probably their playoff matchup versus the Bucs. They just refuse to give up. Sam Howell continues to just shock everyone, but man, can we just take a minute to appreciate this guy? Eric Bieniemy just took over. The second that Russ fumbled and refused to jump on the ball for reasons, I guess, and Kareem Jackson got ejected for his excessive headhunting, it was now slaughtering time. Eric Bieniemy was tapped into the mainframe. Dude was dialing up perfect play after perfect play, mangling Denver's defense through Sam Howell while holding his clipboard with a massive grin on his face. Still though, the Commanders couldn't have made this win any harder. The head Burger King chef threw a perfect pass to end the game, but it wasn't in the script to catch the ball. So, good game. It was definitely an effort, Denver. So now you move on.
Gonna gather, unleashes towards the end zone. It is deflected in the air, and it's caught!
No, not like this, Washington. You can't. One stop. Just get one stop and it's over. For the love of God, if Russ picks this up, I'm gonna
You've got to be disciplined here if you're Washington. Wilson to the end zone, batted down and incomplete.
Good. All is well in the football universe. Washington decided to use their get-out-of-jail-free card given to them by the NFL last year for that incident, and for the Broncos, well, Sean Payton doesn't even feel anything anymore. A fantastic win for the Commanders, and a better one for their future, but Denver, look, I just don't think your roster is very talented. I'm gonna be honest, and going into Week 10, there's a real chance you're going to be looking at a 1-8 record. So, I'm not saying enter the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, but I do have a plethora of tickets. So, come by anytime. I got them. Yeah! Oh, it's so great. It's so great. I can't express to you how happy I am to watch Zach Wilson play football again. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. He's just so bad at football. It truly baffles the mind. But Week 2 has just concluded, and we still don't really know anything about the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is still pretty good, I guess. The offense looks good, I think, under Mike McCarthy, but they just beat down on both of their opponents so badly, I'm not even sure if it's just luck or Dallas is going to be unstoppable this year. All I can say is this is probably going to happen again next week against Arizona, so get ready for another boring week of Cowboys football. And New York, I really want to be mean, and I can be, but I just don't have it in me right now. What I can say, though, is if you still believe this team has the ability to make it far in the postseason with a real quarterback, may I offer you a porn stash and a pair of jean shorts. That might be what saves your season from the wrath of the MILF Hunter. Look out! Honestly, it feels like I've seen this exact same game play out over the last 6 years or so. The 49ers come out, drill the Rams in the face with a hard-ass punch, and that's it. Game over, with the Rams slowly trying to find the motivation to get back up, only for the 49ers to knock them down once again. The Rams knew exactly what the 49ers were going to do and when, and just couldn't stop it. And as usual, the 49ers run game was unbeatable, and Debo had a great game, but other than that, Purdy played maybe a little bit worse than he did against Pittsburgh, but other than that, we didn't really learn anything about the 49ers here. And you know, I can't really blame the Rams for not putting up a great fight either. Stafford looked amazing against the best defense in football, but the talent level between these two teams is just too big of a gap to even think about bridging for Stafford and, you know, I guess apparently 2019 Michael Thomas. What? I'm so confused. So the game begins, right, with the Giants basically just playing a fifth quarter versus Dallas, getting blown out by the Arizona Cardinals. It was just hilarious to watch some more Giants football. I mean, there was a point in this season where the Giants had allowed 60 points and scored 0. That is not easy to accomplish. Well done, boys. So, after getting the dunce cap put on them in the first half, the Giants came out and set the tone for the rest of the game with a Jalen Hyatt huge play. And right after that, it seemed like the Giants sort of realized, oh wait, we're an NFL team, aren't we? With their new burst of energy and the Giants fans that were at the Cardinal Stadium, the Blue Men started doing things again. And look, it was a great comeback, it really was, but can I even call it that? My brother in Christ, you were losing to the Arizona Cardinals 20-0. There's only so much to celebrate about. You can preach about overcoming adversity and better play calling all you want, but this doesn't change the fact that at any point this year, the Giants might just accidentally flip a switch and transform into the 2017 Browns on command. Still though, you did save your season, Giants. Although, in the NFC East division, I really am not sure if there's anything to save, and especially with your two younglings in Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau being garbage, I don't really see a future for you guys. And in a quick turnaround week, get ready to walk to your death against the 49ers. And also, Saquon might be in some trouble. If that man is down, everything changes from here on out. This game, I really have nothing but compliments to give out. I know, it's not as fun when I do that, but seriously, Mac Jones played, dare I say, another great game. The man was reading the defense and throwing the right pass in the right position way more than not, and that Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones, Alabama connection seems to be translating perfectly to New England. And the Dolphins as a whole weren't perfect. Tua's play really did fall off in the second half, but after showing their hand to Belichick, the Finns adjusted their game plan themselves and leaned on the running game to grind out the win on the road. And against the Patriots, that is not something to glance over. If you're trying to be a contender, these are games you just have to win to qualify. And if it weren't for the Patriots special teams whipping out Plan Z to up one field goal kick and then psychologically mess with Jason Sanders on another, the Dolphins could have honestly gotten this win with no sweat at all. But if that happened, then we all would have been robbed of this magnificent play. Oh, it was so good. Gesicki lobs it backwards, and the fat guy just starts rumbling forward and is just short of the first down. No. Oh, this game could have had such a great ending. Why does the NFL hate fun? It could have ended better, and that still hurts my heart, but it was overall like a 7 out of 10 Sunday night game, and also, I gotta say, those Patriots jerseys are so clean. Congratulations, Saints. You won this game entirely because the Panthers did an incredible job of beating themselves to death. This game was a defensive battle that only ended up in the Saints' favor because they were actually able to score some points eventually, whereas the Panthers were a little too busy figuring out where to line up on the field. I mean, I'm still not ready to jump on the Bryce Young sucks train, but the Panthers are still not doing anything to help them. They have no offensive weapons still, the O-line sucks, and if things don't improve in the play calling department, Bryce Young is actually just going to die out there. Still, I really would have liked a much more convincing win out of you, Saints. You didn't really do much to impress me other than that Olave catch. That was admittedly pretty cool. Just don't get in another close game with the Panthers ever again. What the hell did we all just watch? Can you believe it? The Steelers actually won this game. If Kenny Pickett doesn't throw this incredible laser to George Pickens for the long touchdown, then his stats would have looked downright deplorable, and Steelers fans would be calling for his head just as much as the old Canada guy. I gave him the benefit of the doubt last week. I assumed it was just the 49ers defense, and yes, although the Browns defense is incredible too, you just can't string together two putrid performances like these and still be a respected starting quarterback in the National Football League. And while the Steelers' offense mastered the 1st and 10 punt, the Browns' offense was maybe a little bit worse. Once Nick Chubb got broken on the field, everything just shut down. A few of the turnovers weren't Deshaun Watson's fault, but too many plays were 100% on him. He would miss a throw or miss a read and just didn't look comfortable out there for the second straight week. I don't even have words for this game. It didn't feel like football out there. It just felt like whoever stopped tripping over themselves first would win, and in the end, we got some ref ball to give the Steelers a little bit of a lifeline, because, like I said before, they had no business winning this game. I feel like this game almost deserves its own video. We got a special play like this one. Oh, Mo Hurst. Love to see the big fella getting involved again, and I guess this is just a thing that's happening now, where we kind of just sacrifice a player to the football gods every Monday night, so I guess let's see who goes into the Crucible next week. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one, and if you like this video, then watch this week 1 recap if you didn't already. It's pretty good, trust me. And if you don't like that one, maybe you should watch this video on the Jerry Jones era in Dallas. It's also pretty good. Anyways, until next time.